Lyonar. Lyonar. Oh, we're starting. How many 9 mana cards are there in this set? Oh my god. What? Okay. So, starting from the top. Amaranth and Vow. 9 mana, legendary spell. Summon around your general all friendly minions with Provoke that died this game. That's reasonably good. That is 9 mana, make a bunch of dudes. Death Knell wasn't very good. But Provoke minions are better at defending you, obviously, than Arcanists are. And Lyonar is better at defending than Abyssian are. So, I feel like this might be solid. I also feel like, similar to the Obelisk card, it probably loses to Plasma Storm. Bolster, 2 mana common with Intensify, give friendly minions +2 health. Like, +2 health without an attack buff that you're actually spending mana and a card on, not very exciting. I mean, if you have a board, and they have a board, and you play this, especially the second copy, and then you make some trades, that's amazing. But to do that, you have to get to that point in the game with Bolster in your hand. And especially if you want the big bonus, you have to have played one previously. So it's quite good with Divine Bond, and it's pretty good with our next card here, Divine Liturgy, but I guess it's also good with Fealty. Like, you will have lots of cheap creatures in your deck, so you can kind of make them survive and then try and set up Fealty. Betrayal. That was amazing. Divine Liturgy, 6 mana, rare spell, give all friendly minions plus attack equal to their health. Yeah, it's way worse than Divine Bond, I think, because, like, the problem with Lyonar is any spell they have that relies on you having minions in play, just like, they have such a diminishing return, because there are so many cards they have that rely on you to have minions in play. And everyone knows that, so they kill all your minions. And you can play high health minions, but your opponents will play removal, because otherwise, if you could never kill Ironcliff Guardian, the game would be miserable. So a card like this where you have to stick multiple minions and it costs a bunch of mana, it's like, that's not good. But it's really funny. And I guess the advantage of this card over Divine Bond itself is that you don't actually have to play, like, you don't have to play, oh my god, yeah, you could just play this in Swarm. Like, you play this in Golem Swarm with Warblades and Celebrants and all that stuff. You, like, just loads of 1/4s and buffs. And you play out loads of crap, and then your opponent's like, okay, fine, you have some crap. And then you play this, and you get the wall +4 attack, and your opponent dies. That's what this card does. Yes, I was thinking of this wrong. You don't want to play this with Ironcliff Guardians and hit your opponent for 50. You want to play this with Celebrants and hit them for 20 on curve. That is how this works. Grand Strategos. This is the Lyonar quest card. It's a 5 mana 5/5. Special rarity. Trial. Summon 10 minions with 1 or less attack. Destiny. Promote other friendly minions at the end of your turn. So the promote is they get upgraded randomly to a faction card that costs 1 more. So your minions slowly get better, which also heals them, which is quite strong. This card, I think this is quite powerful. Like, this goes right in the deck we were literally just talking about. Like, your deck is Celebrants and Warblades and Brome Hero Power and, like, Legion that makes a bunch of 1/2s in your hand and, like, Ether Master and just random small cards. Sojourner. Like, you're playing Sojourner because obviously, like, build minions, you know, you can play Ironcliff Monument, for instance. So I think it's very easy to, and you play Aurora because it triggers off them and triggers Grand Strategos. So I think it's very easy to build a deck around this. And I think, is the reward worth it? It's not as good as some of the other rewards, but it does mean you can play a bunch of trash and then later on have them be less trash. And that's very strong, and anything that sticks becomes an increasing threat. And eventually you'll just have like a 2-drop that becomes a 7-drop as the game goes on. The main downside is it removes buffs, which a lot of Swarm cards provide buffs, so removing them all is a bit awkward. But Lyonar 4-drops are 3 and 4-drops are quite good, so you'll be upgrading your like buffed, you know, 3 mana, like 2/3 or whatever, into a Suntide main, so it's kind of fine. Basically, Lyonar Winter's Wake, said of Divine Liturgy. Yeah, I think that's an appropriate comparison, actually. Why does Indominus not have Provoke? That would, I mean, it's kind of pointless, right? Griffin Fledgling, we talked about this earlier. 3 mana 5/3 rare with Zeal Flying. I think it's nice to see more strong 3-drops enter the game. I'm quite glad that the +2/+4 Draw a card if you have Zeal spell is rotating. Indominus, 7 mana, 7/9 legendary. Your general is invulnerable but can't move or attack. I love this card. I think this is a really cool design. I like that it makes your general invulnerable to protect them, not just to get like loads of value. Like cards like Grove Lion, and don't get me wrong, I love my Grove Lions, but you know, Grove Lion, Arclight Regalia, and so on, they have other sort of protective abilities. The best thing to do with them is to take your invulnerable general and smash stuff in the face. So I like that this card makes your general immune, but doesn't then let you turn that into card advantage. It just protects you, which kind of narrows it a bit more towards situations or metas where you just need to not die. It's very, very big, so that's great. And I think, you know, it's got the old Archon stat line, 7 mana, 7/9. The other thing about this card is, like, Aegis Barrier exists. If you play this and play Aegis Barrier on it, your Mantra opponent cannot win. They can't remove it. They don't have enough minions, I think, to actually get rid of it. And they can't target it with spells, so they just concede. So if you can get to 8 mana against Mantra, you play this with Aegis Barrier, they die. That is worth noting. Legion, 3 mana, 3/2 common. Can't believe this is a common. Intensify. Put 1 Crestfallen into your action bar. Shuffle a copy of this minion into your deck. So I believe they said that there's only 1 copy that gets shuffled regardless of the Intensify, but you get more and more Crestfallen. So I think this card's really good. I think I was talking earlier about Fealty Brome with like drawing lots of cards, and I think this is your endgame. You play Call to Arms and you play this, and every turn you just play like 4/5s with Provoke until your opponent loses. I think it's pretty strong. Lifestream, 1 mana common spell, fully heal a friendly minion, then draw a copy of it from your deck. I love this card. I'm planning on experimenting with this. Yeah, some Crazy Ginger, they literally just released the card list. You can see it in my address bar up here. I'll just paste it in. In fact, why don't I full screen this for... That's better. So yeah, Lifestream. Fully heal a friendly minion, then draw a copy from your deck. I plan on using this to... Basically, you can play a deck of utility cards, relatively situational cards, in pairs. And then anytime you need one, you just have 2. As long as you have a Lifestream. You know, you need healing, you play as a Herald, Lifestream, get another one. Play an Ironcliff Guardian to set up Divine Bond, Lifestream, get a second copy for next turn. I think this card just does a lot, even if you never heal with it. You know, waiting an extra turn to deploy your minion in order to guarantee having the same effect next turn in a situation where it's useful is really strong. So I like this a lot. Or, you know, in the same turn if it's a cheap minion. Lionize, 5 mana epic spell, gives celerity to a friendly minion directly behind your general. I've never been a fan of cards like this just because they don't do that much until they kill you, and it's kind of expensive. But I think that's the point, right? This is a combo card, but it's expensive and clunky enough to make it a challenge. Like, it has to be a minion behind your general, that's awkward. Usually your opponent's in front of your general. They can kind of maybe see it coming, play around it with provokes, prevent you from getting something there, even body block the space. Legion with Cormal, that way you get the 3 mana 3/2 without the downside. No, it still puts them in your hand. I guess you can replace them all and then Cormal to get rid of them. No! Hey, we were talking earlier about, you play Legion, and then you play Orbo, and you turn them all into legendaries. Oh! I'm going to do that. I'm definitely doing that. I'm 100% doing that. 6 mana artifact. Yeah, so I think Lionize will probably, you know, there'll be some OTK with it. Marching Orders, 2 mana rare spell. Give friendly minions directly in front of and behind your general +2/+2. If they have Zeal, they can't be targeted by enemy spells. That seems pretty good. Do you think? Like, I think that's good. It's hard to set up, but like, 2 mana for 4 worth of stats is a lot. Like, that's a lot of pressure, a lot of tempo. You can sort of like, you play a minion in front of you, and then you move, you like move, play a minion in front of you. You've just stepped in front of whatever you played last turn. You play Marching Orders, and other thing moves up, hits something. Like, that doesn't seem like a massively unlikely sequence of plays. I think it shouldn't be too hard to set it up. I'm mostly thinking of draft. You could probably play this in a Swarm deck though. And I think giving that 5/3 flyer +2/+2 and hexproof is gross. Like, if you just stand behind something, play Fledgling Griffin behind you and play this, you have a 7/5 flying Hexproof and your opponent is dead. Radiant Standard. 6 mana epic artifact. Your general has +3 attack. Whenever your general attacks, summon a minion that costs 3 from your deck nearby. Oh, I like it. Not creature generation, but it thins your deck and pulls out cards that you specifically have that you might want. So what's good? Like Silver God Knight's the obvious one, like Scintilla, because you can heal yourself back up from the thing you killed. I mean, I don't think this card is like efficient enough to see play. If it was 4 or 5 mana, it would probably... If it was 4 mana, it would definitely be good enough. At 5 mana... I mean, if it was 4 mana, it would probably be broken. 5 mana... It's like... It would probably see play. At 6 mana, I think this is not great. But in Gauntlet, it will be quite strong. War Exorcist. 5 mana, 3/8 to provoke. At the start of your turn, Holy Immolation your damaged minions. We talked about this for a while last week. I think the effect is actually not going to come up that often because of what I mentioned earlier, where like your opponent's going to try and kill your stuff anyway, because you're a Lyonar player. And I think, you know, sticking damage, they have to be damaged by the start of your turn. So if you leave anything with damage in play, your opponent can try and kill it. So if you're at the point where you have a minion that's already attacked, so it's taking damage, that's near your opponent, so that it can get value off the immolation and isn't dead, like you're so absurdly far ahead that it doesn't matter. As it is, like the opportunity cost to include War Exorcist isn't that high outside of the dust you spent crafting it, because you know you lose 2 health on your Ironcliff Guardian and you lose airdrop, which is a pretty important ability. But you know, if you're playing a Dirtly deck, your opponent's going to be pressuring you. You're going to play it next to you anyway. So if you're playing something defensive that wants to get lots of value off it, then it's probably not too big of a deal. And at that point, sometimes you'll get somebody, and then it'll feel great. And I guess the main thing about it is that it's got enough health that it will often be able to attack itself, and then sometimes it's just not. You know, if your opponent doesn't have removal, it sticks, it attacks, and then it doesn't die, and it's got provoke, so it locks people next to them. Because Ironcliffs do stick around sometimes. +2/+2 on targetable Soul Piercer. Oh god, that's even better than the Flyer. That's gross. Radiant Standard pulls Legion. Oh yeah, and the Intensify triggers. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. Windcliff Alarmist. 4 mana 2/2 common. Opening Gambit. Summon a 5/5 Windcliff Protector with Provoke from your deck. Huh. You just have... Right, so you have to play them both together? Wow, that's really cool. So, this card is... These 2 cards are basically one together. So, there's a 5 mana 5/5 Provoke, which is not great, but Gauntlet playable by itself. Right, that's a Fireblazer. That's fine. There's a 4 mana 2/2. When you play the 4 mana 2/2, you get a 5/5. So it's a 4 mana 5/5 Provoke with a little 2/2 behind it. If the 2/2 dies, the 5/5 also becomes a 2/2. So it's 4 mana for 2 2/2s at worst, and 4 mana for a 5/5 Provoke at best. Like, that's pretty janky, but really cool. I think that's a lot of fun. I think the times when it doesn't work are going to be pretty brutal, but because the Windcliff Protector has Provoke, you're probably okay. Also, I love the flavor. Like, the Alarmist is like, oh my god, help, and the Protector comes up going like, oh, I've got you. But if the Alarmist dies, the Protector's like, oh shit, he died, no! And panics and becomes an Alarmist and starts, oh no. It's really funny. More Dispel synergy, that's a good shout. Could slot Marauder in there too. You love your Marauders, don't you? Yeah, I guess you can play this with, like, I don't know, Lightbender or something, but you have to curve that across multiple turns. If you stick your 5/5 Provoke, you've already gotten away with it.